Hey, Coach, appreciate you taking the time today.
Thanks, Allie.
We'll get started here with Rube and then Chris.
Hey, Nick. Jalen's been over 73% accuracy, three straight games. No Eagles quarterback has ever done that. His accuracy each year of his career has gone up, as you know. What's kind of gone into specifically that aspect of his game, the accuracy that he's shown this year and especially over the last few games?
Accuracy is not only where you place the ball and the ball being complete, but also you going to the right place with the football, right? You could have an accurate throw and not go to the right place with the football, and that be an incompletion, or and not do it in a timely fashion, and that be a tip ball or a sack. And so I think it's twofold. It's just him getting more and more comfortable with the plays that he's running and that he likes, and knowing where to go with the football accurate and going there in a timely fashion, and doing so with good fundamentals and delivering the ball with accuracy. So, it's just those two components, and he's doing a nice job of that.
Go ahead, Chris, and then Tim.
Afternoon, Nick.
Hey, Chris.
With Dallas being with his injury right now, what's your thoughts on this current crop of tight ends that you currently have on a roster? Is there any consideration of possibly going outside the organization to adding any more?
We'll always look for the best ways to make this team better, and see what obviously, you're limited as far as any trades or anything like that. We're hopeful Dallas will make a good, clean recovery and be back sooner. When he's ready to be back. But we'll always be looking to how he does a great job, always looking to improve the football team. And so we like the guys that we have on this roster. We're excited about them. We're excited about them to get an opportunity. There's different ways you can supplement not having the tight end, having Dallas also. It doesn't just fall on Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra. It just doesn't fall, Albert. It just doesn't fall on those three guys, right? You can supplement it sometimes with different personnel groupings as well. And so, we feel like we have some good options. We're not obviously into game planning yet. We did a big review of our game today. And then tomorrow will be self-scout stuff. We'll work into game plan later in the week, where that will be, we'll think more about that. But we know we have options not only with the guys in the room, but also guys that aren't in the room out of different personnel groupings.
Go ahead, Tim, and then Jeff.
Nick, after reviewing the string of 3-and-outs near the end of the game, what was your takeaways?
Yeah, when you're backed up, you're backed up on the minus 1 yard line. You're limited, obviously, in the things that you can do. So the backed up one, we gave ourselves some breathing room on the first play with a sneak. We were a little off on the next play, and then just didn't convert on the screen that we threw on the last play. We felt good about all those. Gave ourselves some breathing room to give Braden an opportunity to punt the ball back to him. The other one is a situation, we're in 4 minutes. We're trying to get them to burn their timeout, so we're being pretty conservative. And I think, as that drive started, as we look at it, I'm good if we give them the ball back with under 40 seconds or under 50 seconds, pardon me, inside the 20 with no timeout. So you're playing that how the situation it calls for. I'd say one true 3-and-out. I think when you just look at the stats and don't look at the context of the way that the plays happen, I guess it's easy to say, hey, 3-and-outs. Well, we'd like to keep those drives going. Of course we would like to convert backed up. Of course we'd like to keep a drive going in a 4 minute. But those are played the way they're played because of the situation of the game and that we're in and where the ball is on the field. I'd say really on that one, then the 1 3-and-out, we just got to do a better job putting the guys in positions to succeed, and we got to do a better job executing. Like, that's always going to be that when we have a 3-and-out anytime in the game, which is the one that we had an incomplete pass to AJ on the last play. It looked like AJ had a hard time seeing that ball for whatever reason. On that one, but I like the aggressive play call by Brian and the aggressiveness of Jalen on that one. That's been a high percentage a high completion percentage play for us on that. You know, we've been pretty successful on those go balls. Just didn't work out on that particular one. But, you know, a one-on-one with A.J. Brown and the tear that he's been on a vertical route, I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week. And we didn't execute on that particular one for a fluky reason.
We'll go to Jeff and then John.
I don't know if you mentioned it. What happened on AJ running into DeAndre and the fumble?
I didn't mention it. Yeah, we just a little bit of a execution error. I'll leave it at that. We got to coach it better, and we just had a little bit of an execution error on that particular one. We ran that play a couple times in the game. Didn't have an execution error, so on those earlier. But we just got to make sure in different scenarios that we do a good job of reminding them so on those things. But and so again. That can't happen in that particular case. We got to coach it better. We got to execute it better.
Go ahead, John, and then Brooks.
Hey, Nick. Slay at the end of the game kind of said that he wanted to take CD no matter what. How do you sort of take that when you have veteran players that want to take ownership of the game? And how do you obviously filter that? Because you can't just let people do whatever they want. But so it's kind of, how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's different things. You can't just play one coverage. You can't just put one guy on somebody. You'll be figured out fast there. Obviously, admire the fact that Slay wants to go against the best, and because he's one of the best. And so you admire that, but you got to do what you got to think. You got to think about the team and what's best for the team in different sets. Because again, you can't. If it was just a man and you just played man the entire time, then maybe you could do that. But obviously, there's a lot of different things there's a lot of different coverages that go into it, and it takes a lot of different reps it's going to take a lot of reps to execute different things that different types of the coverages. So. Admire his willingness and want to do that. We know we're on the drawing board trying to figure out better ways to take away a guy like CD, and we'll get better at that as we continue on through this year.
Go ahead, Brooks, and then Dave.
Nick, on that, where do you see the nickel position going forward? You get Roby back maybe in a couple weeks, and how do you? Where's your confidence in Eli Ricks and in that position, and how do you evaluate that going forward right now?
Yeah, we feel like we have options. Again, we have to put the guys in position to succeed, and then the guys have to go out and execute. And so that's a team thing of how we do that. And we have confidence. Like, the reason Eli and Sydney were out there yesterday is because we had confidence in them to do the job. Again, did the stat sheet look pretty with 375 yards passing? No, but did the scoreboard look pretty? Yeah, I mean. To hold a team like that to 6 points in the second half is pretty darn good, and to 23 points in the game's pretty good. And so, and then we're excited when Bradley Roby gets back, and we know he's a big time player, and we're excited that he's on this team, and excited that we have a chance to get him back this year. So, got confidence in the group, and we feel like we have options at the group. Again, Howie's done a great job of bringing in depth and. Through the midst of some things where we've had some injuries at this defensive back position, and so we'll continue to get guys ready. Guys will continue to get themselves ready, and I'm comfortable with the group moving forward in the season.
We'll go to Dave and then Martin.
Hey, Nick, any idea why the run game hasn't been clicking like we're accustomed to seeing, and how big of a part of your self-scout will that be this week?
Yeah, I just think that the run game is executing differently than what you've seen. Again, when you just look at a stat book, you're not going to get that information exactly the way it is, right? So, we run a jet sweep to DeAndre that goes for 22 yards, but that counted as a pass. That's a run, right? That's a run. It's just the way we gave him the football. Some teams are under center and turn around and hand it to the guy. Some teams that are gun teams catch it and pitch it forward. For the teams that catch it and pitch it forward, they get pass yards. For the teams that turn around and hand it, they get run yards. It's just a style of what you are in your offense. As far as if you're a gun team or an under team, then you look at other plays. The explosive play to Dallas Goedert, right? Well, it counts as a pass. Well, I got it, but it's a RPO. It's an RPR, and when you do that, you're reading an end, and then some teams read it, and I don't want to get in too much into the scheme of it, but some teams read it and they play option football, and some teams read it and they play pass forward football. Those are runs. So I don't agree that with your. I know you're just asking the question. I don't agree with it, because there's more to the run game, like those numbers, than just what the stats say. And so that's how I'm kind of answering that. You guys can take that. I think I've done a good job explaining that, and I don't want to get too far into that, the scheme things, but yeah, that's how we see it.
So I just want to clarify, Nick. So you're okay with the way that the run game's going right now? Okay.
Go ahead, Martin, and then Olivia.
Hi, Nick. I was wondering what you thought of the way Tyler Steen played, and assuming that Cam is back, when you guys return against the Chiefs, how much do you think this experience will help him going forward?
Yeah, good question, Martin. I think he played pretty good. Obviously, he's going to want plays back. There's a couple times he got matched up with some different guys, and you got to go through some of those adversities to continue to grow as a player. I thought he played a good game though, being his first start, being a rookie, going against a really good defense. I thought he played a good game. And obviously, anytime you get reps, that's beneficial for you. And he did a good job. He's in between Jason and Lane, so that obviously helps. But that was a good front that we went against, and I thought he did a lot of good things. And I thought he got more and more comfortable as the game progressed. We're going to need all hands on deck continuing on, start going into this next game versus Kansas City. So we'll need Cam, we'll need Tyler, we'll need Sua, and glad we have the depth that we have, and look forward to them continuing to grow as players.
Go ahead, Olivia, and then Al.
Hi, Nick.
Hi,
Over
Olivia.
the last, I know earlier in the season we've talked to you quite a bit about some of the red zone struggles that the teams had, but over the last 4 games or so, I think the offense has scored on over 70% of your trips down there. Why is the offense executing so much better in that area? How much of it is execution, and how much of it is play calling or something else?
Sure. Yeah, we've worked hard at that. I think that anytime you're in the lower portion of the league and anything, that kind of pisses us off, right? And we know that we have to make strides to be the offense that we need to be. And that's in any scenario. Like, we don't want to be in the bottom parts of the league, if anything, especially something like as important as red zone football in that situation. So because we know that means points. And so I think today we were, a couple weeks ago we were 27th, and today we were 13th. That's a hell of strides that we've made as a team to make sure we're putting the ball in the end zone, and we needed every one of those points yesterday. So great job by our guys yesterday to execute. And so anytime, like I said, anytime you're where that, it always starts with, are we putting the guys in position to make plays? So we made a few, without getting too much into it, Olivia, we made a few philosophical changes of what we were doing down there, which seemed to have helped, and our guys are doing a great job of executing when we get down there. And shoot, we got good players down there, and they're making really good plays. AJ's made some good plays. Julio made an unbelievable play. So again, we have all these weapons that we just got to make sure we're putting in positions to succeed. And like I said, guys have done a great job these past couple weeks of making this a big jump of our red zone offense getting better, because again, like I said, we've needed we've needed all those points. And so good job to the guys.
We'll take these last two questions from Al and Brooks.
In the fourth quarter, you had that big stop at the 1-inch line, and you had to, on the very next series, you had to run the sneak like you talked about, and it went seamlessly. But you didn't have Dallas Goedert; he was out already. You brought in Jack Driscoll, and that play went seamless. It seemed like you got your 2 yards and a little bit of room. You talk about a player's preparation, that they can come in cold like that and execute it. And will Jack stay in that role until Dallas gets back?
Yeah, I love that question. These guys work so hard to these backup players work so hard to be ready for their opportunities, right? So hard. Yesterday, was a great example of that. And that's just such great examples that you can show how important practice is, how important walkthrough is, how important the individual preparation is, how important position meetings are, all those different things that everybody's locked in that, because at the end of the day, like Jack wasn't getting those reps in practice, like you said, Dallas was. And so that takes a commitment and mental toughness to make sure you're ready to go when your number's called, and that you've put, not only that why are you ready to go? You're ready to go because you've put in the work to prep yourself, even though the reps may not, you may not have had the reps. As far as your question about maybe Jack being there, we do that play out of so many different personnels. In that particular play, the one that you saw and the one you referenced, it was a 13 personnel play. We only had 2 tight ends up, so we needed an extra offensive lineman to go in there and execute in that part of the field, and he did. And so, I guess I would say if we needed him to do it again, yes, we can use him. But if we're not in that personnel grouping, we might not need him to do so. But I know this, like you said, Jack Driscoll will be ready because of the person and the player and the teammate that he is.
Thank
you. Go ahead, Brooks.
It may have something to do with Dallas in this, and what you just spoke about, but those last few drives of the game, Jalen Hurts was talking about being repeat offenders in terms of just continually not being able to get the ball moving there at the end. The things that you learned from those situations, was that Dallas related, his absence in this specific game plan, or are there things that you learned elsewise that just to break out in the game from that?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to. What's the question? I'm sorry.
Did it break up a bit? I'm sorry.
No, I was looking at. I'm on Zoom and you're on Zoom and I can't. I was trying to see your face and I couldn't see it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm in a parking lot trying to. My movers finally showed up, so
I got you. I would I would say if
knocking on my window.
If this was a staff meeting, like we have some Zoom staff meetings, and someone didn't have their camera on, I'd yell at them. But I'm not going to yell at you. You don't work for me, so I'm not going to yell at you.
Well, here I am.
There you are. Okay, that's who's asking the question. All right, say that. Ask me one more time. I'm sorry.
Yeah. With those last 3 drives of the game, was that some of the offensive stagnancy, was that partially Dallas related to this game plan, or are there other things that you learned from this that going forward you learn from?
Gosh, we've been so good in our 4-minute drives, for the past 3 years. We've had a couple we'd want back, obviously, but this particular one, they did a good job of again, we played it. All 4-minute drives are not exactly the same. Sometimes you're trying to make sure that you're no matter what, you're getting a first down. And by all means, we were trying to do that yesterday, right? Obviously, you want to end it with the ball in your hands. Sometimes you're trying to make sure while you're doing that, you get them to use their timeout. Sometimes that's not the point. You want them to. The yards are more important to flip the field. So there's all these different scenarios, and so. That was a unique scenario, probably a little similar to our Minnesota one where we punted it back to them, I think with like 20, they got the ball back with 20 seconds left in a similar position. We just had a little bit more time. And so, again, there were some execution things and some coaching things, some detailed things that need to be better. Did I feel like it was that Dallas's absence? I don't. Now, Dallas is a phenomenal player, and anytime he's not in the game, you know, you're excited for the opportunity for the other guys, but we know, I mean, it's Dallas Goedert. He's one of the best players at his position in the NFL, so you're going to miss him. But did I feel like in that particular case it was not having Dallas? I did not. And so, because I do think the guys stepped in and did a nice job in his absence. But you know, again, there's other reasons obviously why plays fail. It's always going to start with, did we put them in position to succeed, and was the execution well? And we'll take that with putting them in position to succeed on that drive and good defense by the Cowboys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thanks, everybody.